I would like to start with a very somber note. This section 124B is not only an affront to parliamentary democracy. I think all of you are liable to be charged and to be found guilty under this monstrous section if we allow those in authority to get away with it now. It is going to be a monstrous provision. I don't think when the law was enacted in 2012, the amendment to the penal code, anyone would have thought that it would have necessitated a special forum on this particular provision, 124B. I'm sure we have not heard of 124B until the last 1 month. Unheard, even if, although it was put on the statute books in 2012. It was not noticed, although there was some, we did express our concern as to the width of its interpretation. But it was introduced by the minister at that time, Nazri, and he made it very clear it was meant for activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy by violent and unconstitutional means, although these terms were not embedded in the statute book. It's meant to be unconstitutional and violent activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy, not just activities that you oppose the government, you want the Prime Minister to step down. As I said, I'm sure the majority of Malaysians, from the results of the 13 general elections, would want to see the toppling of Najib as Prime Minister, correct? The majority, 52%, and I'm sure it's now more than 52%. Even people who have voted for the BN would have wanted to see, after what has happened in the last few months, the toppling of Najib as the Prime Minister. But that does not make them guilty under section 124B for wanting to see Najib topple. So long as we are committed to the peaceful, democratic and constitutional process. Otherwise, all of you, as I said, will be liable to be charged and found guilty under this section. It can be so monstrous if anyone who is critical of the powers that be or the Prime Minister can be roped in under this provision. It must be toppling of the government by unconstitutional, by violent and unconstitutional means. There can be no other interpretation. In fact, Nazri was confronted with this question in Parliament. And he made it very clear, understood, he said, understood. You look at the Oxford Dictionary, it's there, understood. Activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy means by violent or unconstitutional means. It was meant to deal with the problem of terrorism, not to deal with lawful constitutional exercise of our democratic power. But now it has become a monstrous provision. I imagine it's because there's no more ISA, and a very desperate Prime Minister must be looking for some means in order to exercise power to shut up everybody. And some bright legal mind must have looked through all the statute books and found 124B, that it provides the basis for any action against anyone, any criticism as coming within the ambit of activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy. And that's why suddenly in the last 1 month, this section has become so ubiquitous. In fact, on the day that Ghani Patil was sacked, which was the day that Muhyiddin was sacked as Prime Minister, Ghani Patil was sacked as Attorney General, a new Director of Special Branch was appointed, a new bloc appeared. I'm sure some of you have seen the bloc. Have you seen the bloc? Have you seen the bloc? Put up your hand. This bloc counter what? their counter WordPress.com. Dato' Abiga. This blog appeared, and he made his first article, make it very clear about the intentions of this blog. Never mind about the pictures. Where is it gone to? This keeps can disappear. I must now recover it. Oh, I have lost it. Never mind. It makes it very clear that Section 124B, the day has come, is going to be implemented. It's going to be used against a whole lot of traitors of the country. And they name the traitors of the country. They name the so-called ring of, at first 12, later on 13 conspirators allegedly involved in an international conspiracy to criminalize, I don't know where that became an offense, to criminalize the Prime Minister and to topple the elected government of Malaysia. And names were given. Names were given for, I'm still trying to recover this. Just give me a second. Let me their counter WordPress.com. The first article they get in control, and then okay, Ops Lalang 2015. They want Ops Lalang 2015, which is even worse than the Ops Lalang 1987. Ops Lalang 2015, Special Branch. On that day, a new director of Special Branch was appointed. Special Branch leads investigation into conspirators, talks with authority, with knowledge, and talk about a tale of stolen data, international money laundering, syndicate, and deceit. They say that history repeats itself. According to well-placed source, a massive investigation will be led into conspirators against parliamentary democracy under Section 124 of the Penal Code. And they named, of course, they quoted the sections. The power to carry out the investigation is held by the police. And Special Branch was a power to charge an offender under Section 124 lies with the AG. It is no surprise that the positions of the head of the Special Branch was changed today. It was announced that Datuk Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun was appointed as the new SB director, replacing Akil Balad. This comes at a time when on the same day the AG has been replaced. Federal Court Judge Muhammad Apandi has been named the new AG, replacing Ghani Patel. With Section 124 in place, coupled with the new appointments for Special Branch and the AG, it is possible to imprison anyone for up to 20 years. The new appointments are instrumental in making this possible. This is something like the show to come. And as I mentioned, at first 12 names, later on a 13th name was added. And what were these 12 names? Datuk Noor Samsia Muhammad Yunus, Deputy Governor, Bank Negara. All big names, high positions. Number 2, Samsudin bin Muhammad Mahayidin, Foreign Exchange Administration, Bank Negara. Number 3, Abdul Rahman Abu Bakar, Bank Negara. Financial Intelligence and Enforcement. Number 4, Shukri Abdul, Deputy Chief Commissioner, MACC. Remember the one who was in US who said, return the two and take me in. He is Shukri. Number 5, Datuk Tan Keng Sai, MACC, was one of those who was arrested. Number 6, Rashpal Singh, he was arrested. Number 7, Jessica Gurmit Kaur, she was arrested. Number 8, Dr. Tong Kui On, that's where the press will be involved. Attack on the press. Number 9, Ho Kei Tak. Number 10, Claire Brown, that's why international warrant of arrest was asked for. Number 11, Sufi Yusof. Who is Sufi Yusof? Mahathir's press secretary. Number 12, Tony Phua. That's why in his prison guard yesterday, he was rehearsing his entry into the prison under Section 124B. Number 13, when I first saw this website, there were only 12 names. Then later on, when I again visited, a 13th name was put in. Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz. So this is not just by chance. There was if there's anybody who is responsible for guilty of activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy, it will be these people, isn't it? These people will be responsible for offences, activities detrimental to parliamentary democracy. Last few days I was talking about 9 days of madness, the standoff between the police and the MACC. Although we knew that also the other 3 agencies in the so-called Special Task Force also came under attack. The AG Chambers, Bank Negara. But because these were not reported, it's difficult to assume. But today you see Zeti's statement. She admitted that 7 officers had been investigated. Later on, the IGP said, yes, the police have investigated 7 Bank Negara officers under the Financial Services Act. So we are seeing more of what has happened behind under the surface in the last 2 weeks. After the 28th of July, Malaysia went through a period of madness. We still haven't heard the real story. The real story has not been fully told. For instance, why was Ghani Patel sacked? For no reason? Some reason. They say it's for health reason. Of course, political health. Political health reasons. Why? And why was Apandi suddenly selected to be the AG? He has to resign that night itself from the federal court. Why? Is it because of that he agreed that there was certain understanding about certain interpretations of the law about what Section 124B means and all that? So this Section 124B is become a monstrous provision, a great threat to parliamentary democracy. And I think the only way is for us to be aware, to stand up for our rights, finally fall back on the federal constitution, on the Malaysian constitution, where our rights, on our liberties, on democratic freedoms are very clearly spelled out. But I think we must speak out to let those in authorities know, Najib know, that they cannot get away with it, although it may not be easy. Although we are going to face a lot of obstacles. For instance, the 2.6 billion ringgit, if it has been found on the opposition DAP, PKR, I think we will be in for a long time. We will have police crawling all over our offices and our houses on the basis of disloyalty to the country. On the question of the arrest, the sudden transfer of the 2 MACC officers, the former Attorney General Tan Sri Abu Talib says, an offence has been committed, an attempt to obstruct public officers from carrying out their duty. Will the government, will the new AG or the IGP for that matter, allow a free investigation and prosecution. But I think so long as we are aware and we make it very clear that we are watching, the citizenry are watching closely every step that they are taking, and with the international society that we are in now, internet as well, I think we have weapons in our hands, not violent, unconstitutional weapons, peaceful, democratic, constitutional process to defend and uphold democracy. And I think that is what we should do with regard to this monstrous provision of Section 124B. And I think tonight's discussion and awareness can be the first step to protect our basic rights in our country. Thank you very much.